Today, I wanted to put a diesel heater in my Stabicraft. So I think I've brought all the equipment that I need for it, and I'm going to start the process. So what I did was I just purchased a kit as the whole thing, and I'm going to pull this apart just so I can get the heater and that out of it. I brought a fuel tank separately. I've also purchased some extra hose, the outlet for the exhaust, extra long wiring harness as well, and the large exhaust pipe that we'll need to put in so it doesn't heat as well. This is how they come, and I'm going to pull all that apart because the only part I want out is the heater. I've pulled it all apart now and end up with a heater unit. Now the only other thing I've got to do here is check, because I'm going to be mounting it like this, so the actual exhaust and that goes into the anchor well. So I've got to make sure whether it goes this way or that way, so we don't have a leak. So we found out the ignition plug is got to go here. So this needs to be upright like this. So when we install it like that, that's so diesel doesn't leak. Now the other thing I'll be doing also is I've got a rubber mount here, and I'll be replacing these screws with stainless steel. So now that I know I've got this here as a template, so I know that this here is the way this has got to go up, and I'm also going to mark it on here, so I know that which way has to go up, so don't make that mistake. So then I'm going to take it into the boat and work out. Okay, so we're in the boat now, and this is where I'm going to install it into here. I'm going to install it as much as I can over this way and down as far as I can. So this way I'm going to get the pipe from here back through there to bring it back up to here, because I want the outlet to be here to push the air out. That's what I'm planning on doing, and suck the air in there. So then we're just going to mount it straight in here. Then the exhaust will run up through here. The fuel tank will be in there, so there'll be nothing inside the cab that smells. Okay, so I've put the heater in there now. It's fixed in there. I've just been doing the vacuum and cleaning up all the mess. So now that it's in there, I've got to start now putting, I think the first thing I might do is the air inlet. I've worked out where I'm going to put the fuel tank up in here. I had to move the anchor winch to get that to fit, so I've actually had to reposition that, but that's all good. Muck around with that. And then I'll put the exhaust in, because the exhaust is a bit of mucking around. So, or I might start with the exhaust and then go to the air. Okay, so then I had to install this here, so I just drilled that out with the hole saw. I made sure that, as you can see, it's pointing up. And the reason I've done that is because it's water coming in there. Obviously, you don't want it draining down into the bottom. The other thing is too, when you put the exhaust in there, you do a loop, and you can put a small little hole there, so if the water does come in, it can actually drain. Okay, so we've done that now. So you can see now that it's pointing up. It's all fastened in. So just a bit of a clean up, and now it's time to put in the exhaust. Okay then, so I've got the exhaust here, and you can see that I've already cut a bit of this off here to get that working, and I put the two clamps in here, so that should be okay. And then I'm going to probably have to cut some of this off, but I left that on because the actual exhaust is in here. So let's go and see how that goes. Another guy about installing it into the boats, just something to remember. So when you put the exhaust into the heater unit, then to put a little drop here, and then drop a little 5mm hole. That way, if the water does come down here, then it has somewhere to drain out, even with condensation. So, and then I put the lagging over that as well. So okay then, so what we've done here now is we've put this little beauty in. Just a little flexible thing there, so that's gone in there now. Then we'll put a bit of hose from here that gets us to the inside. And then we're going to run a bit of flex from here. Stretch you down a bit as much as we can. Run a bit of flex from here, and then we're just going to come under here, just underneath the porthole here. I was thinking about getting it up there, but it's just run out of room. So put it in here, and I'll face the thing up. That'll get the air flowing back up to here to hopefully get it near the windows. That's the plan. Okay. Let's see how we go. So we've installed this in here now. So now we've got the air intake there. So we're just looking now to just get that air intake from there, just under here, and we'll flow it back up this way. So when you're laying down here, it shouldn't bother you. And when it's on low, it's not too bad anyway, so the majority of the time. Okay then, so now we've put the porthole in here. And I just used a 73mm bit, which I can't seem to find. Oh, that's it. So I just used a 73mm plumbing hole saw to get the hole out. And then I just used the old file to get it out to the right size. I'll just rivet that in. When I've riveted that in, I'll clean up all my mess with the vacuum here. And then fix you can see the black one there. And then I've just got to make sure there's enough room between that and the exhaust pipe here. And then that will get the air inlet done. When I stick that in there, I'll just have the heat coming up here. And then I'll put a couple of inlets back up in here. And the air should come up here and then come back up in here to the windscreen. Okay, so we've got to put in now. Just going to vacuum up now. Clean up all the rubbish. I'll stick that on. What I've got to do is it's just a little bit close to the exhaust, which is here. I'm just going to put something in here to pull that back in. If I had some 90-degree angles, that would have fixed that. You're probably better off buying a couple of 90-degree angles to fix that so that it doesn't bow out like that. So what I did was I just made up this here out of a bit of stainless steel strapping. And bent that around there, and that's going to hold the outlet tube against the backboard there, so it doesn't hit the exhaust. So as you can see, I've just put this bracket down here to hold that in, so it's not hitting the exhaust pipe here. You can see the exhaust in there now, the inlet, and the power going in there. So that's how it's all working out. Okay, so next part on again is the fuel. Late at night working on my boat. It's pretty cold at the moment. So this is the fuel tank I'm going to install. I'm basically going to put it up into here, into there. I'm going to strap it to the anchor winch housing with just a stainless steel strap, and then run the lead and the fuel pump into here. So at the moment you can only just see this little screw here. That's the one holding the outflow pipe here on the back there to keep it away from the exhaust. So now we're up to the fuel, but I think that'll do me for tonight, and I'll start again tomorrow night. So what we've done is put the fuel tank in here and just bolted that in. I've just used a bit of stainless steel strapping to get that in. You can see I've got the fuel line down in here, and I'll put that back down into there. What you can also see there is where I put the air filter in, and I just put a loop on that as well. So if water does get in there, it won't go up over, and it can drain out as well. That's where I put the air in. Okay then, so I don't know what that went on for. So what happened here is I've got the fuel pump, and I've put that in this silicone case to keep the salt water and everything out of it. I've connected all that up, ran the wire down through here, you can see it down there, into it. So I'm about to fasten that off, just keeping in mind to put where it's got up, because it's got to go on a 45-degree angle. So this will go back to the diesel tank, and this one here will go to the heater. So okay, so we're doing the test run now. Just put it on there, and everything seems to be working okay. certainly got a lot of hot air coming through there. Just going to give it a 3-minute test, see how everything heats up. Nothing burning. It smoked out a little bit of diesel when it first started, just out here. A little bit of diesel spilled, I think, on the ground. But everything else, I think, is running fine. Okay, then we're going to give it another run now. We've put the anchor rope in there, and I just want to see how everything heats up there, see if anything's melting or anything like that. So we're just going to give it a 2-minute run at full hook after it's warmed up, and we'll see what happens. The good thing about this one here, it's actually got a purge button, which is in the middle. So when I had to purge the diesel for starters, it was quite easy. Just press that button until the diesel got up to the heater, so it was nearly an instantaneous start. Okay then, so let's fire up and see what happens. Oh, well, after I did the test, I tested for 3 minutes. I checked the ropes, and with all the lagging on the exhaust pipe, there was certainly no heat there. So it seemed to work fairly well. And it really heated up the cab. So now comes the next part, which is the wiring. So the fuel's done, the air's done, the exhaust is done, and now it's just the wiring to complete it. But before I start doing the wiring, and I'll put the wiring down through here, I really need to clean up my boat. It's a mess. You can see the lagging around the exhaust pipe there. So when the rope goes up next to it, it doesn't affect it in any way. Okay, it's pretty late and it's pretty cold down here, I can tell you. It's freezing. Anyway, so I've just been putting the wiring in here now, down here, wiring it back up to the harness. And after I've wired it up, then I should be able to give the full go and see what happens. The only thing that I'm waiting on is actually the vents here that I'm going to put in, so the hot air will come back up here and rise through the vents and hopefully up to the screen. That's the key. The only thing I have to do is I have to move my heater box, because that's in front of the panel where I need to get the power from. So I'll move this out of the way. I've got to pull all this out and then hook the power up there. Okay, so I'm now going to do the start up of it and see how it works. So hopefully then, so it's good. I'll put the controller down in here. It's all good. I'll just press the out button. H3, go to H5. Okay, we'll see how it's. So that's where I positioned it down here in the cab. So I've just turned on the H5 and turned it on. So here it's firing up. This is the exhaust here. Now normally I wouldn't do it in an enclosed shed, but we're going to run a short time and it's got a fairly high setting. It's freezing outside. Okay, so this is the exhaust with the flanging around it. I've got the fuel tank in there, which is close. And this here is the anchor winch that I've had to just modify. As you can see, cut that out there and cut this out for the fuel tank. So just modified all that for it to go in, and it's all working fine. So just going to give it a heat test. Oh, okay then. So the heat is coming out beautifully. It's working fine. I can't see any smoke coming from the front here, so it means nothing's burning in there. I checked it all before and it was all good. So I think that's a success. The diesel heater installed in the Stabicraft has been completed. It's taken a lot longer than I thought.